Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
Hello, David. Merry Christmas. Happy St. Stephen's Day. Happy not quite New Year's. All that kind of good stuff. Happy holidays.
Okay, you stumped me. I'm putting you on the spot here, Kurt. What is St. Stephen's Day?
Well, in Canada, we call it Boxing Day, but in Ireland, it is St. Stephen's Day.
All right, I'm going to Google it.
There you go.
Do you know what it stands for? Obviously, St. Stephen's.
St. Stephen. I don't mean to be facetious.
All right, here we go. St. Stephen's Day, celebrated on December 26th, honors St. Stephen, the first Christian martyr, and is a public holiday in many European countries, featuring traditions like charity collections, festive gatherings, and cultural events. Commemorates St. Stephen, a deacon chosen to care for the poor, who was stoned to death for his faith, as detailed in the book of Acts.
It means a little bit more than Boxing Day, so it's like huge in Irish culture. And if you know the Chieftains, which are a fabulous Irish Celtic band. I was
about to bring that up, Kurt.
Yeah, the Chieftains, one of my favorite bands of all time, and they have a fabulous holiday album. It's kind of a combination of Christmas and New Year's, and they have a song about St. Stephen on that album, which is where I'm kind of cheating. That's where I first came to know of it before I buried myself in
well, that's where I had heard it too. It's in the top 5 Christmas albums of all time. As far as
it's terrific. It's just tremendous. Like Burgess Meredith is on there, and it's like,
what is it called? Well, people can just Google it. The Chieftains Christmas.
Yeah, in our family, it's our tradition to listen to that album on Christmas morning on the 25th, and we've done it every year for about 25 years.
The Bells of Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, and I got it. It came out in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe.
Yep.
And right up there with Nana Muscuri and Michael Bublé and
Nana Muscuri. No, I remember that Christmas album when I was a kid, but I haven't heard it in decades. So
It is fantastic, Kurt. It is I highly recommend it.
Well, the Michael Bublé Christmas album is fantastic, and if you've never heard Sarah McLachlan's Christmas album, it shimmers. It's so good. So.
And of course, Vince Gilardi or Giraldi.
Yeah. Peanuts fame.
Charlie Brown.
Yep.
All right, there's other great ones too. Kurt, the Oilers lose not a weird game, but listen, the Flames brought their A game, and they got a lot of puck luck. And four shots of the Oilers hit the net, or hit the post, I should say. So that's how they beat the Oilers. Otherwise, the Oilers beat the Flames most often, I think. But full credit to the Flames. They really came out strong, and they outworked and out-hit the Oilers. The grade A shots were 18-17 for the Flames, with the subset of 5 alarm shots, 10 each for the teams, with the Oilers coming back strongish in the third period. They had five alarm shots in the third period. So four of them.
Edmonton truly embarrassed Calgary before Christmas. And I have enough respect for the Flames to expect that they would have come back with a really good effort tonight. They did. They were certainly the better team over the first 30 minutes. I thought the Oilers were the better team over the last 20 or so, but that's usually not enough to win in the NHL, and it wasn't tonight. While those statistics are narrow, I don't hesitate to say that I think the Flames probably deserved the 2 points in this one. The Oilers made it close, but the Flames showed up tonight and played certainly well enough to win.
The Flames deserve the win. Bottom line. Kurt, 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. What is your good thing?
Well, my good thing is Evan Bouchard. We're coming up on the selection for the Canadian Olympic team. Wednesday, I believe, the roster is unveiled. And Evan Bouchard, if there is still the possibility of him squeezing onto that roster, he certainly didn't hurt his chances tonight with a goal and an assist. And when you look at his statistical line, It's pretty impressive. I mean, he played 29:04 in a
Wow.
non-overtime game to start with, so that's an eye opener. He had 4 shots on net. He hit 2 posts, 3 block shots, and a takeaway. And his opener, the Oilers' first goal, a one-timer off a nice soft pass from Leon Draisaitl, which he just hammered off the post and in, like it was a thing of beauty. And then he had the secondary assist on the McDavid goal to make it 3-2. Um, there was the odd foible with the puck, as you and I have discussed. For guys like McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard, when they play so much and have the puck so much, there's going to be the odd turnover and that sort of thing. But boy, I loved how decisive he was tonight. He was decisive with his passes. I thought he was way more decisive with getting the puck to the net and winding up with that great shot of his. And as always, he did just a marvelous job of walking the attacking blue line. The odd one's going to get tipped off his stick when he walks that kind of the high wire act, as he does game in and game out. But he was highly effective tonight. And since we spilled so much ink criticizing Evan Bouchard at the start of the season when he really did get off to a rough start, boy, he has been good the last 6 weeks. And I think if Team Canada's smart, they'll have him on their roster. But I guess time will tell on that front.
Yeah, what does he have now? He had a goal and assist tonight, so he's
Yep.
got 37 points in 39 games.
Yeah,
He's
that's
probably like
that's
this.
third in the NHL for scoring by a defenseman.
Yeah, he's on any other team for any other country. Maybe not. Well, the U.S. has good competition too. He should be like neither of us are saying he has to be in the top 6.
Oh,
He's got to be there though in case Cale Makar gets hurt.
yeah, he's got to be in the roster. When you've got a guy who's third in the NHL in scoring by a defenseman, there's no excuse to not have him on the roster. Have him as your 7-8. In case of injury. At this point, if he gets left off, and Canada has been fairly accused of this in the past, and I think we're seeing it play out right now at the World Juniors, they way overthink their roster selections sometimes. Instead of just taking the best damn players, if they're taking the best players, Evan Bouchard's on that Olympic team.
But I heard that this World Juniors they did take the best players. Like that was the most skilled players.
I think on forward, I think they absolutely did that. I have issues with their blue line selections, and I think you can see that with some of the difficulty that they're having in transitioning the puck out of their own zone. So
Yeah, you want defensemen who can move the puck, right? Like it's just crucial to hockey right now.
yeah,
And it's one of Stan Bowman's strengths, I think, as a GM. He recognizes that.
100%.
He really does. And the Oilers will have that kind of defenseman. And if you're not that kind of defenseman, you're going to struggle to stay on this team. I love Bouchard's goal because I've been waiting to see this shot utilized more. And I think one of the nuances of the new power play coach is that he is doing a better job of integrating Bouchard and finding Bouchard's shot. And Bouchard's shot shouldn't just come from the top. If you have him on that half wall, on the one half wall and Draisaitl on the other, if you can add the nuance of Bouchard also shooting one-timer shots from the left side,
Yeah,
well,
as a right shot. Yeah,
as a right shot, that is super scary for the other
agreed.
team. And
Yeah,
that'll mean Draisaitl set him up that time, but I think it's probably works best with either McDavid or Nuge at the top, actually, and Bouchard shifting over to that position and being set up by Nugent Hopkins or McDavid. Probably McDavid.
probably McDavid, because Nugent Hopkins is good on the wall, moving
Yeah,
that piston up and down, right? So
yeah. So it's a great wrinkle, and I think it's the first one-timer goal from that spot on the power play that Bouchard may have scored for the Oilers. The interesting thing is on the 6-on-5, right near the end of the game, he put it off the post from that spot again.
he did.
He got another chance to shoot, and so if he can incorporate that particular spot, it's a natural spot for him to be pounding the puck, and I think he could just be super deadly. So apparently, he works on that in practice. Keep working on it and bring it into your game, Evan Bouchard, because that is a really, that is, you're just giving up, you're grabbing free money when you do that. Because that's a scary shot from that spot when the goalie's moving and doesn't know where the puck's coming from. It's going to be in the net a lot.
Yeah, I think he could score 30 goals some year. If he gets less deselective with shooting the puck in his own zone, forgets a little bit who he's on the ice with, and just lets her buck.
I'd like that. Kurt, I'm going to go with Connor Ingram. I thought he gave his team a chance to get back in the game and win this game. All of the goals were pretty tough plays. The Sharon Govich goal was a pass from down low to just right in the middle of the slot and slammed in. Lomberg's goal comes on a turnover by Regula. And then the last goal, what was it?
It was turnover by Ekholm.
It was a total passing, like rapid passing play, and the goalie, he doesn't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. After
some turnovers, center ice and blue line by McDavid and Ekholm. Anyway, I thought Ingram, given how the Flames came out and got all these really difficult shots right at the start of the game, they were just pounding in 5-alarm shots right from the start of the game. I think they had 5 or 6 in the first period. And he did let in the one by Sharon Govich, but he played well enough for the Oilers to win. And it was a difficult game. There was lots of action in front of them. What did the Flames have in the end? How many shots did they have? Let me just
32.
check here. 32. So not a, he Wolf was the better goalie. He was one save better. But Connor Ingram played really well again. And it's interesting because it's kind of unexpected by probably most everyone because he was so poor in the AHL this year, to see him come up here and just look so assured in the net. And at least that's how I see him. He looks great to me, and he's he's not letting in bad goals, which is critical, and he's making some tough saves, which is great, which gives your chance a team to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your assessment of him tonight for sure. I don't think he's been fantastic, but I generally speaking don't think he's had to be. For the most part, his team's been pretty decent in front of him. Certainly they were in the first 2 starts. In fact, they were very good in front of him the first 2 starts. I think he had to be better tonight, and was. When the score was 2-1 and those Oilers had those back-to-back power plays in the second period, and I'll talk about that in a minute. At that point in the game, the shots were 22-11 Calgary.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a close game at that point, only because Connor Ingram was solid in net. And so you're working your way into a free coffee. I thought I'd bring it up instead of you bringing it on me.
I was going to let him rest for a night because did you expect him to start tonight, Kurt? Did you think they'd go with Pickard?
I thought I understood that he would get the first 2 starts. Why not? I agree. You and I agree on one thing, that they do need to know what they have with this guy.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. But I thought it would be a 50-50 or maybe 3 out of 5 kind of exchange, Ingram to Pickard. So yeah, I am surprised that Ingram started tonight. So.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens on Monday, whether they stick with Ingram, because it's a possibility. Like, he has yet to play poorly. And if they're really wedded to testing him out, like, let's say for a playoff run, right? You want to see how let's say Tristan Jarry is injured, and they got to go with Connor Ingram as their starting goalie in the playoffs. You play every game, generally speaking. So they might go back with him Monday night. I wouldn't be surprised, but I didn't think he was going to play tonight. I thought they'd start Pickard. So I thought this would be the one that they would start Calvin Pickard. But they went with him, so it's interesting.
Yep, that certainly didn't cost him by doing it. I agree with you. He had little chance on all 3 goals. The one goal, he was a little deep in the net, but when there's a turnover in your own zone like that and it ends up a quick odd man rush the other way, it's pretty hard for a goaltender to find his depth in the crease. Like that's a fast judgment
You mean the Lombard
adjustment.
goal?
Yeah,
Yeah, with regular turnover.
it
'Cause if he's
if
coming out too fast, then the guy can deke him, right? Like that's the danger of
yeah.
coming. Like if your momentum's coming out,
Mhm.
you have to kind of be set.
Yeah.
And at
I
least
think
that's how I
people
would.
underestimate how fast that puck gets on a goaltender in a turnover like that. Like it's
That was.
instantaneous, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, and then he made a great shot too, Lomberg. Like he
yep,
really did.
yep, full credit.
So it'll be interesting, Kurt. Like if this team ends up with Tristan Jerry, and Ingram in net, like people remarked on how last year Colorado turned over both its goalies
Hmm.
in the regular season, bringing in Blackwood and Wedgwood, and how rare that is to have success at that. And I can't remember who was suggesting that they kind of got lucky doing that. There's a certain amount of luck in doing that, and of course they didn't win the first round of the playoffs either. So it's not like it was it wasn't a slam dunk,
Hmm.
but it could happen again here. We could have Tristan Jerry and Connor Ingram as the two goalies come playoff time. So the Oilers, and who knows if it'll work out better for the Oilers. It's a pretty high bar for the Oilers because they made the Stanley Cup final.
Right.
So it's interesting. Jerry and Ingram are similar goalies, I think. They're both agile goalies, good side to side, and Jerry is a really superior puck mover. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Ingram's game management. I'll have to. I don't know if he's. I haven't seen enough of it yet to
Yeah,
know about that. Inger's
I
pretty
think
good at
he
that.
moves the puck well, but I think Jerry maybe thinks that part of the game a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the game for a goalie, and it's really underrated.
It
I
is.
remember Kurt. This is going way back. There was a series where the Oilers they they had won the cup in 1990, and then the next year, I think it might have been it. They were in the conference final against Minnesota, and I thought, oh, they're going to easily beat Minnesota. And I think I have the year right. It's 91 or 92. I think it was the year after they got to the cup final. I thought, oh, they're going to go to the cup final again. They're going to easily beat. I think it was Minnesota, but Minnesota had a goalie called John Casey who could really handle the puck,
Yeah, I remember
and the
John
Oilers
Casey.
would, and it just changed the game completely, changed the series because the Oilers have been dumping the puck in, getting in on the forecheck, winning pucks, causing trouble for the other team. They looked like they were really rounding into shape, and here came John Casey moving that puck, handling that puck, making moves with it, and it thwarted the Oilers completely.
Is that the Minnesota team that had Smith and McAdam and Cicerelli as their first line? I think so.
I'm just going to go to Hockey DB and see if I'm completely wrong about all of this, which is a possibility. This is the kind of, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Playoffs. I just need let's see if they have the playoffs at Hockey DB. Here we go. Yes, it was because Casey plays, he had 14 wins and 7 losses in the 1990-91 playoffs. So 23 games.
Right.
So yeah, it was that year, and on that team was led by none other than Dave Gagne, 82 points in 73 games. Brian Bellows, 75 points in 80 games. Brian Propp, 73 games in 79. I didn't remember Brian Propp played.
Brian Prop, they got him from Philadelphia, right? Yeah.
They had Modano, 20-year-old Mike Modano, and a 30-year-old Neil Broughton, and a 32-year-old Bobby Smith.
I thought Bobby Smith was on that team. Yeah.
Ulf Dahlin, Mark Tenorti.
Who was the backup goaltender? Was that Joe Meloche?
No, he would have been gone up. It looks like it was Seaweed Hayward, Brian Seaweed.
Oh, no way. Oh, wow. I do, yes.
That nickname, I don't know what that's all about. This is my last aside for the moment. I'm just listening again. If you like hockey books, if you love hockey, Ken Dryden, who died this past year, and was my first hockey hero, he wrote a book on Scotty Bowman. It's called Scotty, and it is such a fabulous story. And if you have audiobooks at all, Ken Dryden reads the book, read Scotty, and it is just such a great Canadian story. Because what it is it's a testimony to Scotty Bowman and his hockey knowledge, his unprecedented hockey knowledge, as Ken Dryden articulately argues. But Bowman picks the 8 best teams of all time. And then he matches them up in a playoff series, talks about how each series would go, and then takes it to the Cup final to pronounce the final team, the greatest team, in Scotty Bowman's opinion. And he talks in depth about each team and what made them tick. It is just such a great book for a hockey fan. So I highly recommend it.
Ken Dryden arguably wrote the greatest hockey book of all time, which is The Game. So, yeah.
I love both those books. I can read those books a lot. Okay, bad thing, Kurt.
I alluded to it. The Oilers had a chance to get back into this game and take control of this game. And it's pretty difficult to blame the Oilers' power play in a night when the power play went 1 for 3. They got a power play goal. So they've got the number 1 power play in the NHL, and their percentage tonight pretty much matches their season percentage. But it's all about when you do and don't score power play goals, right? And they had those back-to-back power plays. Draisaitl got tripped, and then right after that, they Calgary killed that penalty off. Savoy got cross-checked. 2 legit penalties in both cases. I thought the Oilers' power play was effective on the first power play. They just didn't score. But I thought that shook them when they didn't score. And so the Savoy power play, the second one, I thought they looked discombobulated. And it was the first time in games and games and games that I've seen their power play look tentative. And like Draisaitl, the one pass that he laid into the middle of the zone got picked off and run the other way. And normally you see Draisaitl really, really whistling passes through the neutral zone. This one was a pizza right through the middle that got picked off, that it was frankly easy to read, and Calgary took it the other way. I thought that was the turning point in the game. I thought that was the opportunity for the Oilers to grab this one and wrestle it to the ice and turn it the other direction. And when they killed off both of those penalties, I turned to my wife and said, I don't think this is going to end well. And surely it did not.
Gert, I love your high expectations of the power play. I share them. Like I had the same thought. Like it's like, okay, they didn't get the first one, but then when they got the second power play, I thought, oh, they're going to score now,
right? Yeah.
So we're so demanding, but that's great. Like, and it is that great, and they didn't execute. Now they did. Let me just see here if they got much in the way of chances on those power plays. Let me go back and have a look, but maybe they didn't even do that. So.
And it would have just turned the momentum because, as I said, the shots at that point were 22-11 Calgary at the start of the Draisaitl
they didn't generate a shot. They didn't generate a grade A shot on either of those power plays, Kurt. So they were close. They were close-ish, but they didn't get that done. So not good enough. I agree.
And look, the players on the power play
every time lazy.
But they're not going to make excuses either, right? They'll look at that and go, it's our job to score on one of those opportunities. Yeah. They know it. And to their credit, they do most of the time, more than any other power play in the league. But tonight, it just happened to be the sequence that the game turned on.
I think, so if there's a bigger reason that the Oilers lost the game, so that's a good turning point, and I agree with it. If there's a bigger reason, it's the same reason I've been going on about it. Many people have been going on for about a month. It's really picked up steam. Mainly it's picked up steam because the top 2 lines have come together and are playing pretty well. The second line, the Draisaitl's line wasn't that good this game. And on the goals against, actually, it was I don't know who was out there, like Regula was the cause on the one goal, like just gave away the puck in a tough spot, but he needed to make a safer play. But it was Draisaitl's line was out there on the first goal, and Draisaitl and Podkolzin were, that was their zone where the slot shooter came through, and neither of them was able to take that man. And McDavid gave away the puck at the offensive blue line on the third goal. So it was the top lines that were scored on, and it's not so the third and fourth lines weren't scored on. At least they didn't make mistakes on the goals against. Maybe
They were though, because the Frederick line got scored on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see them making mistakes on that play. That was really Alec Regula failing to make again, he just gave the puck away in the defensive slot.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring up Regula's name again. And kind of beating on the poor kid.
If there was a game where these guys needed to step up and do something, like answer the bell physically, perhaps. Man, I wish I'd seen Connor Clattenburg on the ice tonight, because these not to a man, but they are not close to getting it done. They didn't create one grade A shot on the attack, those two bottom lines. They are not close to getting it done. They're not close to Stanley Cup caliber. Like, you will not win a playoff series with this third and fourth line. And Adam Henrique is getting a lot of heat lately, and it's fair, but he's playing too high in the lineup. We mentioned it last podcast. Matthias Janmark is playing too. Like, these are not third line players in the NHL. Janmark and Henrique. Mangiapane is he's at this point just disappointing. Like, where is the offense? He was going a little harder tonight, just like Frederick and Boston. Their old home cities. He was trying hard. And then Jones has been okay, actually. He was playing well, but I mean, Trent Frederick, it's just another super disappointing game, nothing game from him. And it's the only way to put it. And I guess Savoy, who got moved up to the second line, and Roslovic got bumped down to the fourth line in the third period. Roslovic's still struggling to come back from his pretty severe injury that required surgery.
Yeah.
And, Matt Savoy is like, he shows signs, but he's not putting up points. He's not getting it done either, really, at this point either. And I know he's got a lot of people, everybody's rooting for him, but Kurt, it's like they've got to bring in 3 players here almost, or do something. How do you see it?
Well, I agree with your assessment tonight, and generally over the past while about the bottom 6. I think your comments are fair. But I think it's all too easy to just put the blame on the players. I think you can argue that the usage of this roster isn't where it needs to be. It's pretty easy to criticize Max Jones, but the guy got 9 shifts. It's tough to have a huge impact on the game when you only hit the ice 9 times. Trent Frederick, look, your criticism of him is not unfair, David, but the guy hit the ice 10 times tonight.
7:15.
He played 7:15. Like, when you look at the usage tonight, those guys on the third and fourth lines, Frederick was 7:15. Janmark was 8:46. Jones was 7:36. Mangiapane was 10:29. Like, I'm sorry. And I get that you're coming out of the Christmas break, so your big guys are fresh, so you can run them a little harder. Sure. But it's not like this is the only time Chris has done this. He runs his top 6 hot. And that's really hard to avoid doing when you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman on your team.
Yes. And they're killing it. They're doing well at even strength.
But at some point as a coach, you really have to exercise discipline and understand that if you're going to get something out of your bottom 6, they've got to see the ice. And look, I think if Trent Frederick plays 11, 12 minutes instead of 7:15 and still ain't getting anything done, well then, maybe that one game trip to the press box needs to be 2, 3, or 4. But I have a hard time criticizing any player who's sits on the bench for most of the night and then is expected to go out there and wow everybody when he's cold. Ask any player who's been in that position. They'll tell you it's bloody tough. And so your assessment is fair, but I think the coach needs to share in that.
Yeah, I think they need a third line center. I'm not sure I see a third line center on this roster right now. It's not Frederick.
There isn't any, as you probably saw in my Boxing Day
Could Matt
article.
Savoy possibly get it? Like people say he was a center.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but in what world are you winning a Stanley Cup with Matt Savoy as your third line center? And I know you're not advocating for that, David. It's just like, no, that's not the answer.
I've heard people have a huge crush for Matt Savoy.
Oh, I know.
Like he's got lots of supporters, but he's been pretty. He's not been as good as Andrew Mangiapane. Like he's not getting it done any better than Mangiapane has. Like he's fat, like he looks faster, but like he's not.
I don't quite agree with that because Savoy has been fairly effective on the penalty kill, and Mangiapane really doesn't kill.
Yeah, so
Mangiapane's been
just an even strength I'm talking about. But yeah, fair enough, Kurt. Yeah.
Yeah, but 5-on-5, no, I agree. And I've said this before, and it made you squirm. But it's amazing to me how people were so hard on Stuart Skinner, a hometown guy, but they seem to be giving Matt Savoy a pass.
Yeah, the only one I thought Janmark looked good tonight, actually. Okay, he looked okay, and Max Jones looked okay, but the other guys are just really but I think the fundamental problem is they don't have a third line center. And if they had one, like Frederick they really hoped he would take that role, I think. And, it's not close for whatever reason. It's a mystery.
Well, as you know, in my Boxing Day article, my number one thing in my Boxing Day article was they need a third line center because sure they could put Ryan Nugent-Hopkins there, but why would you take Nugent-Hopkins off the McDavid line? It doesn't make sense. I would go out and get a third line center.
They might have one on the farm, and this is you could say
not to win a Stanley Cup with.
Well, sometimes guys do come up. Now he would have to come up fairly soon. He's got 23 points in 28 games. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Josh Szymanski, big German guy, big German forward. And
I think he'll play in this team someday, but there's no way you win a Stanley Cup with Josh Szymanski as your third line center.
I agree. He's probably, if he's on the team, he's the fourth line center, right? Like if they were to win the Cup this year.
He should play next year.
They're going to have to trade for this player.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Apparently they've got, what was Bob Stauffer was hinting, they have their eyes on a guy on a team that doesn't usually, Bob was leaving the breadcrumbs, that doesn't use a right shot, third line center on a team that doesn't usually trade people. It might surprise people that they're in a trading position. So that's
yes. And might not be out of a playoff picture now, but could be. It's like you connect all the dots, you can usually figure out who Bob is talking about. So
there was wildfire because people were saying Jared McCann. Like, I don't know.
Out of Seattle, I've heard that name mentioned.
McCann strikes me as more of a top six player. He's a really good offensive hockey player, but he maybe that would be a good solution. I don't know. They've got lots of wingers, down like between Howard and Hudson. They're both still killing it. And I liked Quinn Hudson. I thought he looked strong in his
Me too.
cameo. So
hey, if you look at teams that win Stanley Cups, they're strong down the middle. They do need someone who's gonna, like, Klapka was running all over the place. Nurse stood up to him really well. I liked how Darnell Nurse did that. But they don't need Darnell Nurse doing that. They need, like, if it's not Connor Clattenburg, someone just like him, who's on the fourth line and willing to take on those guys and causing havoc himself to the other team. And this is a big hole on the Oilers. This is another big hole. Third line center and a really aggressive winger for the bottom lines. And they don't have that. So, Jones could in theory, but it was so disappointing because last year he came out, shot out of the cannon, right? And then just completely faded, like became nothing, like faded into the woodwork. So this is his MO. This is why he isn't a regular NHL player, is because he has never been able to do that consistently, right?
Yeah. Where are we, Kurt? Is it my bad thing?
It's your bad thing.
Oh, what is my bad thing? Do you remember what I said? Let me just have a look here.
I know it was the two failed power play attempts to...
Oh, I just said my bad thing, the third and fourth lines. I already said it.
Okay, so
Okay,
then it's number time.
it's numbers. We're both equally on the ball. Uh, it's more my job though. It's my job to.
It's the tryptophan talking.
Uh, that's what the Oilers can say.
That's it.
Um,
I think I've had turkey in 5 consecutive meals now.
ah, isn't that great?
It is,
That's
but I'm a little sleepy.
your number.
12 and 32. Connor McDavid extended his point streak with that goal in the third period tonight. He now has 12 games in which he has consecutive games in which he has scored a point, and he has 32 points in those 12 games.
And he could have had a lot. Like he was in on 13 major contributions to grade A shots. Like he could have easily had 2, 3, 4 points tonight. It just didn't come his way.
Yeah, I thought McDavid, Bouchard, and probably Ingram were their best players tonight.
Completely agree, Kurt.
Although
and
Darnell Nurse was solid too, I thought. Yeah, so.
Who else?
Darnell Nurse I thought was good.
Yeah, I gave Nurse and Hyman 7. Zach Hyman was pretty good too. Like he had 5 grade A shots on net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number is 29 to 13. That's the hit count in this game. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always signify the better team. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But tonight it did. And the hits were significant. Klapka was running around hitting people hard. Lomberg was all over the place hitting people. They didn't get a lot of ice time either, but man, they made the most of it. Klapka was +3, and he was a physical force. And I'm just really putting a bow on the point I was making before. Like the Oilers have the wrong mix of players right now in their bottom lines. They've got to get some more physical play out of some of these players. I don't know Clattenburg has been out a long time.
I'm hearing he could be activated any day, but because of cap reasons, he may go straight back to Bakersfield. So,
yeah, I've heard that too. That's the likely thing to happen.
It was an injury around the eye, right? So I think they quite rightly wanted to be careful with that. So,
man, I wonder after tonight's game if that'll happen. Like,
good point.
Send someone else down. I don't know who they'd send, but.
Well, Savoy's the guy who's waiver exempt, but I don't think he's earned a demotion, do you?
No. And he is a part of the penalty kill.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's a little frustrating. Like, I think part of me thinks Quinn Hudson might be a better player than Matt Savoy right now. And they might be better off with Hudson in the lineup.
Well, but Hudson won't be on special teams, so he'll be playing 7 minutes a night, right? Like it's...
Yeah.
I hear you. I could say the same thing about Ike Howard, but it'll be the same problem, right?
Yeah, unless they develop a third line, which is more significant, and give them some ice time.
Yeah.
Like I think the ideal thing is to get a third line that plays more, and then a fourth energy line, which doesn't play a lot, which plays 8 minutes a game, but gets out there and raises hell in those 8 minutes.
And you can have a Clattenburg on that line, right? So
you can. So and maybe Henrique is the defensive anchor on that line, and then there's another physical winger. Henrique is kind of the veteran ringleader on that line, and that might work.
Yep. Yeah, because like Henrique was great. He was 77% on faceoffs tonight, and he's a very defensive, responsible guy on most nights. Like as a fourth line center, you could do way worse than Adam Henrique. So
he's still strong defensively. He just doesn't have any pop to speak of on the attack.
I at this point I have to agree with you. Yeah.
We've seen, let's say 70 to 80% of the games that's been true. There's been a few games where he's come through and done well on the attack, but it's not there consistently in any significant way. Kurt, do you have any final thoughts or final takes for tonight?
Spencer Stastny is catching my eye on the PK. In particular, that penalty kill shift he had in the second period, I thought he was terrific. 2 notable plays on that shift in particular. He just keeps impressing me. And his wheels, he can skate pucks out of danger, man. And it's he's not the perfect player, but he's way more than I expected at this point.
Yeah. So tonight he made a great play in the defensive slot where he shot away a puck that was going in the net, like if he didn't get there first on a rebound. So that was a really big play. And I saw him pretty good tonight too. I gave him a 7. Even though, again, there wasn't, like, he's not creating on the attack, but he's not going to. What his job is to play third pairing defense and probably penalty kill and really do a good job. And if he can do that, he will be in the lineup ahead of Regula if Regula keeps making mistakes.
Yeah.
So,
PK and retrievals, right?
I don't know about Emberson and Stastny. A little concerned about their size. And about their puck moving against a fierce forecheck and breaking the cycle against a fierce forecheck. If they're out there, if they get in the playoffs, let's say out there against really good players on the forecheck, big players, I'm a little worried about that they would struggle to move the puck out.
Yep.
So,
as of right now, if you ask me which of those 3 young defensemen I would be comfortable being in a playoff lineup, I'd say Spencer Stastny of the 3 of them.
It was his best game as an Oiler, I thought. And I've been making up my mind on him. But I'm starting to think, I agree with you, Kurt. I saw what you saw tonight in that play.
And I like bits and pieces about all 3 guys, right? But it's
And Emerson's been playing. He didn't have a particularly good game tonight, but he's been playing well. So.
For the most part, he has, and he's not afraid to play physical, even though he's not the biggest guy, right? So,
they list him. I think it's 6'1" or 6'2", but I don't know if he's that big, honestly.
Yeah, but he certainly doesn't shy away.
No, he's a pretty
he's game.
He's starting to he realizes to stay. He's 6 feet. They list him at 6 feet 193. So, and Stastny is, what is he listed at?
He can't be much more than he's 6'1", maybe.
I think he's 6 feet 184.
Yeah, okay.
So they're not big Bobby Clobber.
No.
So
Stastny's the far superior skater of the 2.
They are, and neither of them are brilliant with the puck. So to me, that's a bit of a recipe for probably some problems in the playoffs. Now, what it could be Stastny and Regula. One thing we have to think of Regula, I always mispronounce his name, him and Tomasic.
Only have to worry about one of those now.
One thing we have to remember about Regula is he is playing second pairing minutes against tougher competition.
Agreed.
And when defensemen move up into that role, they tend to struggle. This is not unusual. If Emberson or Stastny was asked to do the same thing, they also might be struggling like Regula.
Remember Matt Benning?
Yeah. It's just, and remember Vinny DeHarnay got moved up in the playoffs to the second pairing?
Ethan Bear.
Yeah, Ethan Bear.
All those guys, when they moved up to the second pairing, they just couldn't do it.
They try to move them up and they can't do it. It's really hard. So I think that has to be, in terms of assessing Regula, that has to be taken into account. Move him down to the third pairing, let's say. Move Emberson up, and suddenly Emberson's exposed.
Yeah.
So, but Nurse has been playing great. Like, he had another good game. And alrighty, I guess we should just mention briefly David Tomasic. He didn't. I just like the way I liked the way they handled this from the start. I think they made a really good bet on him. 29-year-old player ripping it up in the Swedish league, a big guy with some skill. So they thought, why not? Let's try him out. And they did. And he got, because of Hyman's injury, he got power play time. He got a bit of time with McDavid and Draisaitl. He didn't get as big a push, let's say, as Mangiapane or Savoy or Frederick on these top lines. But it's not like he was head and shoulders above Savoy or Mangiapane. He's head and shoulders above Frederick. But he had some good moments. But in the end, Kurt, the thing you raised early on,
his speed
did him in. Correct.
Lack thereof. Yeah. And
so
you know what, David? You were in Europe, I believe, while training camp was on. You could see it in training camp. He didn't look particularly fast in training camp, and we all know you're not playing against A-level competition at that point in the season. So,
yeah, he had that chance on the power play. He needed to score on the power play. He needed to. When Hyman was out, he needed to get 2 or 3 goals in that first month of the season on the power play.
Yeah.
And then he might have been able to stick on the third line, possibly. But It just wasn't there. So it was a good decision for both of them to move on. Like,
Yeah, and and I agree with your assessment of it. I see some people criticizing the organization for what? Like it was a free player who, when it didn't work out, they were able to move him off for nothing and pick up a tiny little bit of cap space in the process. Like who who didn't benefit from that experiment? Like I don't get the criticism on that.
is there criticism?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of the organization blew it. Well, on what? They didn't spend an asset to get him. They didn't have to send anything out to get rid of his contract. Like they just terminated it. Like it's like, how exactly would have you liked Stan Bowman handle that differently? Like I just don't get the negativity on that one.
So I guess Bakersfield lost tonight.
They did quite properly, and Leppinen scored, but then left the game with an injury, apparently a serious looking one. So we'll have to track that. So he and, as you know, he and Tomashek were the two veteran guys that they brought in at the start of the year. And as it turned out, I think both were reasonable bets, but neither one could stick in the NHL.
And Leppinen has come on, I guess, in the AHL. He had a pretty rough first month, I hear. And
defensively, he was very poor at the start. Yeah.
That's too bad if he's hurt. Hopefully that's not. And Hudson scored tonight, though. He's got 17 goals in 25 games. So
he did. Yep.
All right, Kurt. Anything else? Any final thoughts? Or
no. Well, you know what? One final thought on Tomashek. It was pretty clear, even if he's stuck in the NHL, he wasn't fast enough to play center. And if he sticks in Edmonton, he's blocking one of Savoy, Hudson, or Howard. Well, from an organizational standpoint, that doesn't make sense either. So the right decision was made.
I guess Noah Philp's probably pretty close to coming back too, and Kapanen.
I don't know about Kapanen, but I understand that Noah Philp is close. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and sneak him through waivers. Given that he's coming off a concussion, that may make some other teams a little reluctant to take him.
Philp?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. Although, again, they might want to know if they can be fourth line center or fourth line forward. And because he's kind of like he was okay-ish, let's say. But there's enough there in terms of size. He's got to up his aggression. Noah Philp, to make it in the NHL, is going to have to hit more than he's ever hit and more than he's used to. He's going to have to be a more physical player than he's used to being. And so he has to make up his mind how much he wants to be that, to do that, which is I imagine that's not easy, really hard to do.
There's a saying, David, that dog don't hunt.
You don't think he'll do that?
It's very rare for you to change a player's personality.
I agree. Some players make up their minds and can do that, but he's like 27 or 28. So it's like, I think he's 27. So I agree. It's unlikely, but there's enough physicality there now and then. Like it wouldn't be a lot more. It would be like one more hit a game, one more it's an aspect of his game. He'd have to make it more of an aspect of his game for him to stick. And I agree. It's unlikely. They'll bring in a player who that's what they do.
Yep. Yeah.
Like Jones has a better chance. Jones just has to find consistency. Now, again, that dog probably don't hunt either. The consistency thing. But maybe, for a stretch of games in the playoffs, he could find it, lightning in a bottle.
What they need in third line center is a Ryan O'Reilly type of player.
Yeah, they do, Kurt. That's who they need.
See, we should be running the joint.
Well, we know too much about the cap even to speculate about things that aren't going to happen. Like
we should get Ira to look after the cap for us, and you and I can just push the buttons.
See, even
three-headed
McCann,
monster.
Even McCann makes too much money. Like it's when you look at these things, it's very, very difficult to make these kinds of trades. So the Oilers don't have a lot of people to move. They moved Kulak and Skinner. Mm-hmm. The only other player that was easily movable, without no movement was Bouchard, right? Like there's just no one who's making considerable money, any kind of money, who it's easy to move.
You have to make a hockey trade, right?
You're going to have to trade your first pick from 2027 and one of these really good young players in Bakersfield, or a couple of them.
Well, but if it's salary, that doesn't help you either. So when I mean a hockey trade, I mean it's money in, money out. You have to decide that you need that third line center more than someone else who's already on your roster.
But who can they even trade, Kurt? Like, this is the problem.
Look, David, I agree with you. All I'm saying is that's one way to do it is money in, money out. Because by just trading a prospect for that guy, you still need to make the money work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mangiapane has a no movement clause or a no trade clause. So
he does a limited in the first year. He does, yes, yeah. In the second year, it goes to like 10 teams or something like that. So,
all right, well, we'll get into this down the road, but
we'll get Ira on and we'll talk the cap.
Kurt, thanks for talking tonight.
You bet, David.
And I'd like to thank all the listeners of the Cult of Hockey. Wish them a Merry Christmas. We've got the wisest, sharpest, smartest, sanest hockey fans in the world listening to this podcast. And it's great to converse with you guys and girls and gals. And I want to give a special shout out to Kevin and Anna McCurdy. Bruce loved Christmas, Kevin told me. This was his time of year. And Kevin put out a tweet on X about this. And so, we're remembering Bruce fondly and missing him dearly this Christmas season. Thanks again for listening. And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.